Hello and welcome to ETBFSI.com. My guest today for this particular conversation is Rishi Gupta from Fino Payments Bank. Sir, glad to have you.
Hi, Amol, how are you?
So I'm doing great, sir, and I would like to know how are the payment banks doing? Obviously, not the whole industry, but specifically Fino Payment Bank, because the payment banks were started with one reason, but there were a lot of restrictions, specifically on the deposit raising, specifically going to the market. So it's been decent time now, more than 5 years, if I'm not wrong. So how is it shaping up? How many branches do you have? If you could give us a dashboard in terms of how many employees do you have, how many transactions you go through every day. Just tell me the current state of Fino Payment Bank.
Amol, we have been knowing each other
Yes.
for a very long time. 6 years back, around 6 years back, the
Yes.
payments bank model actually rolled out. That point of time also, there were a lot of apprehensions around the fact that how payments bank model will actually run
Right.
because of the fact that there is no lending and there is a restriction on the liability
Right.
side. All of us went into this model with those guidance or the boundary conditions which we were there. Obviously, over the last 6-7 years, the entire payment ecosystem has also evolved quite a bit with the onset of UPI and digital, and the way QR code is now available everywhere in the country.
Right.
As far as Fino goes, from the time we started the business to now,
Right.
our top line or our revenue has grown by more than 6 times. We were amongst the first payments bank to become profitable.
Right.
We also got the scheduled bank license. We went public about a year and a half, 2 years back. So it's been quite a journey for us as a Fino Payments Bank is concerned.
Right.
Obviously, the model needs to now go deeper because most of the payments bank have a lot of customers who come to their point every month. A lot of accounts have got opened through the payments bank ecosystem.
Right.
So those are now saying that what do we do next and how do we make this business model even more viable? So that is obviously a conversation which keeps on going. But from a performance point of view, in the last quarter, we did nearly 75,000 crores
Right.
worth of transactions. Fino started as a physical company and now we added digital to it. 24% of that 74,000 crores were actually done through the digital ecosystem.
Yes.
We have 85 lakh customers on our platform, out of which roughly 35 to 40% are now using UPI as one of the ecosystem for payments. That's very heartwarming because India is getting digital. Our customer segment also, which we thought about 6-7 years back will not become so digital, it started to use digital and use UPI. And I think it's an aspirational product for them. Now from here, if you look at the journey, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years forward, I think the ecosystem are now evolving. We have seen a lot of payment aggregators, payment companies now getting into lending. So somewhere the model is merging between the lender as well as the payment ecosystem. I think that's the way forward. Payment obviously brings it's a hook product to bring the customer onto your platform, and then through lending you can make some money in that ecosystem. So it's been a rewarding journey. It's been a tough journey, no doubt. And being at the forefront of payments bank, the way we have built up the ecosystem, you were asking me about the number of branches. Our business model is a very cost-light, scalable model. So rather than branches, we work with merchants. So we have 14 lakh odd merchants across the country, where a customer actually comes to do some withdraw, buying something, like could be a kirana shop, could be a mobile recharge, and in process of that he does a financial transaction. So our cost of doing a transaction is low. That is why we are able to scale up the model. It's a high volume, low margin business, and to make this business more viable is where we are looking at if lending can also come onto the platform. That will make the customer also much happier and also the business model more sustainable.
Sure. Meaningful thoughts here, and that helps me understand the dashboard to me and my viewers, obviously. But now tell me something, payment is one part, business payments, merchant payments. The other part is obviously micro ATM. And there are a bouquet of services that you're offering. Which segment is, fueling more to your growth, or which segment is generating more revenue for you now?
So rather than talking about the which segment, I would talk about the strategy. Our strategy is the TAM strategy, which is transaction to accounts to monetization. So transactions, we have a lot of products like micro ATM, AEPS, domestic money transfer, cash management services. These are products for which the customer actually comes to the merchant point.
Right.
We have about 2.5 to 3 crore customers who come to our platform every month to do this kind of transactions. So these are the hook products. Some of them customers over a period of time build trust with the company. They start to deposit the money in the bank. and we then open an account for them.
Hmm.
So we open about 2.5 to 2.75 lakh accounts per month
Hmm.
for our customers from the people who come to us for
Right.
transaction point of view. So the cost of acquisition is low. The customer gets convenience, he gets simplicity of opening an account.
Right.
Is very the bank is accessible.
Hmm.
Merchant is open from 7 till 10 in the night
Hmm.
compared to bank branch which is open for 4 to 5 hours in the. So from a segment point of view, we are actually moving from transaction, adding to it the activation or the accounts layer, and we have a very simple products rather than having hidden charges and all that. We have a simple product which we call a subscription based CASA account, in which upfront charges are known to the customer and there are no other charges which he has to pay up to a particular level of transactions. So that is the way we have built up the ecosystem. So the transaction platform is now getting fueled by accounts.
Yes.
When a customer comes to my point, he becomes my customer, then I can do more cross sell. So it becomes from a transaction to ownership model also.
Yes, yes, yes. So now tell me something about the demand, right? When you have 84 lakh customers, I'm sure the transactions will be also in the millions. Where are these people from majorly? If you look at the India's geography, are they more from the urban, rural, or hinterland? How's that geography dynamics, and how's the demand specifically?
So if I look at domestic money transfer, that's more demand on the urban side because people who are migrated from rural to urban, so they send money back. So that's the demand on the urban side. But largely we have our presence, 70% of our Fino's presence is in rural India. So more accounts opening, more transactions on the cash withdrawal, more payment services transactions are there on the rural side.
Right.
But one thing also you have to see, India has evolved and a lot of changes have happened in the last 5-6 years. Not only the fact the India stack, which we talk about JAM strategy and the India stack, but the GST also has come in a big way, because of which many companies in urban India have started to now transfer salaries into the bank account of the customers, of the employee or the contractor. So he now is moving on the digital platform. So he needs a bank account which is accessible, and that is where Fino comes in. So Fino has an ecosystem where we are partners with a lot of corporates, entities, in industrial houses, specifically in urban India, where we pitch a Fino account because it's a very easily accessible account. Also the fact that a lot of people want to do digital business. And they don't want to open up their primary account. So they want that let me keep some money in a secondary account and use that bank account for all digital transactions, the UPI or other thing. So our motto is to become a हर दिन Fino. So आप हर दिन कुछ Fino से ₹1 ₹2 जो भी आपको transaction करना आप कर सकते हो easily.
Noted. So two more important questions, and I will stop then. The first is specifically, all started with a big bang. Few of them didn't even start because they realized perhaps this model is not workable and they surrendered the license, which happened with a lot of payment banks. You're one of them consistently pursuing your goal and in fact doing really well. In fact, you also reached a profitable level, right? Very recently. One is, what made you work which perhaps other could not do?
See, one is that others had they may have many options. There were there was conglomerates who had many businesses. So they must have seen whether this business makes more sense than the other business. But for us, this is the only business we do. 24/7, we breathe, eat, walk, think about Fino only. And how we make the business model possible. I think our single focus objective of making Fino successful and reaching the last mile. Also, one of our values is courage. And this goes back not now, but 17 years when Fino started his journey. That time also, BC model was considered a model which cannot work because everything was done 17 years back in branches. So we challenged that and we made the business model for BC. Then the entire DMT, that why would somebody go to a merchant to transfer money? It should be done at the branch or India or a postal office. We challenged that. Then the entire payments bank model, the DBT, the payments bank model, as you are saying, that it was. So somewhere the challenge also excites us, and I think a lot of people come with the DNA that we have to make it a model which can be sustainable over a period of time. In Fino, we follow 4 principles: speed, scale, security, and sustainability. So sustainability is one of our biggest pillars, and we believe any business we do, we will do in a manner that it becomes sustainable over a period of time. So when we were putting together the payments bank model, obviously we had a head start because we were already in similar kind of business. But our single focus on making products and model that it becomes sustainable over a period of time. I think that was one of the biggest reasons for us to survive and excel.
So in the last 6 years, sir, the whole digital world has changed a lot. In fact, UPI on credit is going to be the new
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not just a
Yes,
payment,
yes,
right?
yes.
So many things are happening. DBT is already there, and the physical payments are almost not happening. And the government is also quite aggressive. Now, majority of the segments that you're operating in or the strategy that you are involved is specifically into digital, whether transferring payments or even in some level to BC model and all. So do you see that maybe a consolidation happen in this space, or maybe there will be a lack of growth, or perhaps you will not grow in the same speed that you grew in last couple of years because everything is already going online?
I don't think so. India being the demographics,
Right.
the population, it is going to be a 0-1 game.
Right.
I think both physical as well as digital will survive.
Right.
Both will ecosystem will coexist.
Hmm.
How much will be that we don't know, but we have seen a digital growth happen much faster than the physical growth. Obviously, if you go
Exactly.
back demonetization 4 years back, the cash in circulation has also gone up by 3 to 4 times. The digital obviously has grown many x. So both will coexist. We believe we are the fulcrum of transferring people from physical to digital. I'll give you an example. So people want to use UPI, they want to do digital, but they have money in cash. They don't have money in the bank.
Hmm.
So they open a bank account of Fino
Hmm.
and put money in that bank account, and then use that bank account through Fino Pay app or through other third-party apps to use UPI.
Right.
So somewhere ecosystem is evolving. I think one thing will lead to the other, and that's the way I've seen how the ecosystem grows. I don't foresee a situation that it will be a 0-1 game. I also don't foresee a situation that the relevance of payment ecosystems will go away because everything will become digital. Everything will coexist. Maybe one will grow at a faster rate than the other, but the model also itself will evolve. Our transaction to ownership model
Right.
itself shows, see, today we have 84 lakh. The way at which we are adding customers will reach 2 crore customers. 2 crore in-house customers by itself is a big ecosystem where we can do a lot of other businesses with the customer. So opportunity is there. I think India with 3.5 trillion going to 5 and 10, and the way the population, the younger population is now coming. India for the next 20 years, I don't think so there is any dearth of opportunity which is there.
Yeah.
We just have to be innovative and agile to capture that opportunity.
Lastly, very important, you have already received a board approval for the applying for the SFB, right? Small Finance Bank license. So what is going to be your strategy? First is, when are you going to apply for SFB to RBI, and what is going to be your strategy? Also, how hopeful are you that your business model, of SFB will be perhaps better, because even the current SFBs are also not doing as great as they should have done. Maybe forget one or two companies, and they are also facing a lot of challenges. So what is your strategy behind getting into SFB, and how are you going to pursue that?
So one is that banks are not built in years, banks are built in decades.
Yeah.
So it takes time for the
Yes.
customer trust, ecosystem, technology, products,
Yes.
everything to stabilize, the team to
Yes.
stabilize. So I would not say to judge success
Hmm.
of SFBs in 5, 6, 7 years. We have to look at it at a longer period of time. Obviously, within that 5, 7 years, there was a big impact of COVID, which put most of the banks behind. But now they have come back, and I believe SFB's model will reinvent and grow bigger and bigger. We have taken the board approval. We are in the process of applying to RBI. RBI will take their time, come back with their views, giving, not giving some questions. It's going to be it's a process which we have to go through. Hopefully, because of our track record, we are hopeful, because that's why we are applying, that we should get a SFB license, but that is subject to all RBI conditions being met. So I would say transitioning from a payments bank to an SFB is not anything less than 24 to 30 months of journey.
Absolutely.
From getting the approval to getting the people, technology, products, everything together. We have a broad strategy which we have put together. That broad strategy is also, as of now, as of today. 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, I can't predict, because we have seen a big black swan event, not even a black swan, a one in a century event, which happened. So to plan that this is what we are going to do now and this is going to be 3 years from now, but we'll be working on that. We have created an ecosystem of merchants. We have created an ecosystem of customers. Our customers are becoming more digital. Our merchants are becoming more digital. Lot of data which we are building is based on 3D strategy. 3D is distribution, data, and digital.
Right.
So use the distribution which we have, use the data which we have for our customers as well as for our merchants, and look at how digitally we can bring the loan and how digitally we can engage the customer to take the loan. And I think in any SFB strategy, if you don't have collection at the core of that strategy,
Hmm.
it's going to be a difficult implementation. So we are also looking
Right.
at that. We already do collections for a lot of partners, so that ability is already there within Fino. So differentiated approach of Fino will be on the 3D with no real benefit of raising liability, because we don't. Most of the banks raise liability at a high rate so
Right.
that they can invest or give credit. In our case, because whatever 100% of the money we collect, we have to give it to in government securities and others.
Right.
So we feel, and that also we have created a good liability profile
Agreed.
at a relatively cheaper cost. So with credit coming into, SFB coming into, we'll be able to migrate to a better customer. We'll be able to raise more liabilities at a cheaper rate. I think those are few things, and Fino being a technology digital company, I think that itself is a big advantage compared to the peers who are there in the ecosystem, especially in the SFB ecosystem.
So, any deadline? When are you applying?
No, see, there are no deadlines as
Yes.
such. We are working on it. We want to make sure that everything we do, just like the way we do, has to be good and perfect. Fino has been always a very slow, and not a slow but a steady
Yes.
player, and we will continue with that strategy. So once our thinking, our application, everything ready, we'll apply to RBI. Then we'll leave it to RBI to judge us over the next 1 year or so.
Superb, sir. Thank you so much for all those meaningful insights and stopping by and sharing those thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amol.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
All the
Thank you
best.
so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching ETBFSI.com. Thank you.